You've probably heard it before, and you've definitely heard it on this channel. House hacking is one of the greatest investments that you can make. It's pretty much a no-brainer. But how do you really analyze a house hack? To be honest, there's not a lot of house hack calculators out there. So in this video, I'm gonna show you exactly how I analyze a house hack, how we can understand the power that a house hack has, and hopefully help you make the decision to buy your first or next investment property. Of course, all of that and more on your favorite investing channel, Investing in Bryan-College Station, Texas, where I help you grow your wealth through real estate in my favorite towns, Bryan and College Station, Texas. Guys, if you are looking to do a house hack, live in a duplex and rent out the other side, or live in a house and rent out the bedrooms, this is the video you want to watch. So stay tuned. It's gonna be a good one. If you don't know who I am, my name is Greg Schwartz, and I'm a Marine Corps helicopter pilot turned investor, turned house hacker, turned real estate agent. I have a portfolio here in Bryan-College Station that has everything from duplexes to fourplexes, from Airbnbs, and yes, I am a serial house hacker. I'm currently on my second house hack, and I've helped a lot of clients buy their first or second house hacks. And guys, today I'm gonna share with you what is house hack, why it's such a good idea, and then how to analyze it. Let's start off with what is a house hack. I throw that term around as if we all know what I'm talking about, but the truth is you might not. So house hacking is when you buy a house, your home, the place you're gonna live, your primary residence, and you turn it from a liability into an asset because you find out a way for that house to produce income. A classic example, and the one we're gonna use today, is buying a duplex where you live in one side and you rent out the other, but there's a lot of ways to house hack. In fact, right now I'm house hacking in the fact that I have an Airbnb guest staying in one of the rooms in my house. They're gonna be staying there for a month and they're gonna pay me $1,000, which is a great way to offset my $3,000 a month mortgage. Literally a third of my mortgage is being covered because one person is staying in one room in my house. So that's what house hacking is. Why would we want a house hack? Well, there's a number of goals of house hacking. And really the big one is, it is a great way to buy your first or second rental property because it's got a low barrier of entry. You see, unlike most investments where you have to put 20 to 25% down, which in Bryan-College Station means you need $60,000 of just down payment. When you make it your primary residence, you can put as little as 3 to 5% down. So now we're talking as little as $10,000 to $15,000, literally 1/4 of the upfront cost. Furthermore, house hacking is great at lowering your monthly expenses, and it's also a relatively risk-free investment. But the problem we run into in a lot of cases, how do you analyze a house hack? How do I know how good of a return I'm actually getting? And that's the meat and potatoes of this video and what we're about to jump into now. The reason I'm making this video is that analyzing a house hack is not easy, and in fact, you can't just use a regular rental property calculator because it doesn't take into the account things like the fact that you have expenses that you're already paying for rent or your current mortgage. So analyzing a house hack can be somewhat difficult, so please bear with me. We're gonna use 3 calculators, all on calculator.net. We're gonna use a rental property calculator, an amortization calculator, an investment calculator. This will tell us our cash flow, our principal pay down, and the appreciation of the property. And then we're gonna use our handy dandy note card and calculator to determine what our return would look like. So if you're doing this at home, follow along. We're gonna use a real world example of a duplex that one of my clients bought about a year ago. So here you get the calculator. You should be able to see it on the screen here. It's a purchase price of $265,000. There's gonna be a 5% down payment. Keep in mind, 5% is ridiculously low. Most investors are putting 20 to 25% down. So you could literally buy 4 investment properties as a house hacker to the one that you would have to buy as a non-house hacker. That's very powerful, guys. You could buy 4 for the same quote unquote out-of-pocket expense. Interest rates, 6.75. It's about what we're seeing for our primary home buyers. And that's what you are as a house hacker. You'll be living there. For our investors, they're usually looking at interest rates well north of 7%. It's another big win for my house hacker. 30-year amortized loan, $5,000 of closing costs. I'm gonna assume that you're gonna do repairs. For $15,000 and some sweat equity, you should be able to improve the condition of this 80s built duplex. After repair value, I'm gonna assume that you're gonna get in every dollar that you put into it, or get out every dollar you put into it. So it goes from $265,000 to now being worth $280,000. Property taxes, a good estimation is 2% of the purchase price, or $5,300. Insurance is always hard to estimate. I've got it at $1,800 for the year, but check with your insurance provider or your insurance agent. No HOA fees, $1,000 in maintenance should be enough, particularly if you're doing the work yourself. If you've never done this kind of thing before, don't worry. There's this thing on the internet called YouTube, and you can learn anything, even how to house hack. And you'll have no other cost. The other side, the non-occupied side, should be able to bring in about $1,200 on the year with a 5% vacancy. We're gonna assume 4% appreciation, which is on the lower side. Houses in Bryan-College Station have been appreciating by north of 4.5% for the last 30 years. But again, that's a running average, so we'll do 4% for this. And I'm gonna assume 5 years of holding time. Guys, I run everything on a 5-year timeline. You don't have to live in a house hack for 5 years, but in this scenario, I'm gonna assume that someone, let's say that's 25 years old, is gonna buy it and live there till they're 30, and then the cost to sell 7%. We run the calculations here, and it looks very scary, but again, guys, stay with me here. We're gonna focus on only one number on this page right now, well, maybe two numbers, but most importantly, this cash flow, and it's negative, which looks bad. We're losing $1,167 a month. Oh my goodness, except you have to live somewhere. Presumably, if you were gonna live in the same duplex, you would be paying $1,200 a month. So really, you're saving $33 a month. In my mind, your cash flow is actually positive $33. That's the $1,200 you would be paying minus the $1,167 you're actually paying. You're positive $33. That's an important thing to understand. As long as you are buying a house hack where your monthly expense is equal or less than the cost to rent that same unit, then you're in a pretty dang good position, because principal paydown and appreciation will do their job. We'll get to that here in a second. I do want to scroll down here quickly. This number right here, the $33,000, is your total investment. So for this particular calculator, that $33,000 represents your down payment, your closing cost, and your repairs. That's a number that we're going to keep in mind, $33,250 initial investment. Also keep in mind, if you don't have all of that money, don't worry. Your parents can gift you that money if you need that as a help, or you can take on a partner that could buy this with you. Let's go to amortization real quick. This is a calculator that tells you how quickly you pay down the loan. Now, if you're gonna buy it for $265,000 and you're gonna put 5% down, your initial loan balance will be $251,750. Again, 30-year amortization, same interest rate. After 5 years, your loan amount is $236,332. That's pretty damn good. We've now paid down, about $15,000 while owning the property, creating value, creating net worth, increasing the equity position in this property. Well, let's go over here and look at our investment calculator. What this is going to show is appreciation. So you did some repairs. The house had forced appreciation up to $280,000, but now we're going to let natural appreciation take its course. The natural appreciation of Bryan-College Station at 4% over 5 years would make this house worth $340,662 after 5 years. So if you go to sell the house after 5 years, you can sell it for $340,000. That's pretty good. But remember, when you sell a house, there's expenses associated with it. You're probably going to end up paying some realtor fees. You're going to have some closing costs. We're going to call that about 7%. So 340,662 times 0.07. So we're going to calculate that to find out that you'll have $23,846 of expenses to sell the house. And then of course your loan balance of $236,000. So we'll take $340,662, the sale price after 5 years, subtract the cost to sell, $23,846, subtract your loan balance, your now lower principal balance on your loan, and that means that you walk away with $80,484. That is the amount of money that they will give you, that at closing, the title company will cut you a check for $80,000. But let's go back real quick. You put $33,000 into this investment. We want to figure out our ROI, return on investment. So we're going to subtract the $33,250, and that means that your profit is $47,234. $47,000. So let's stop right here real quick and just conceptualize this. If you rented the same duplex, you're going to pay $1,200 a month. You are going to have no value after that. After those 5 years, you've not increased your net worth at all. Zero, zilch. You have nothing to show for it. However, if you house hack that same duplex for 5 years, at the end of the 5 years, you are nearly $50,000 richer. Okay, let's continue. We are now profiting $47,000. We're going to divide that by our initial investment of $33,250, where we can find out that our return on investment over those 5 years is 142%, divided by the fact that it's over 5 years, which means our annualized return, the return that we saw on this property every single year, is 28.4%. 28.4%. 28.4%. Where can you get over a 25% return on your investment for a base hit of an investment? Guys, this is not a great investment if you're not house hacking it. But as a house hacker, it is ridiculously powerful. That's what I'm talking about, guys. I don't get 30% returns on my investments, but you can as a house hacker. That is stupid powerful. And this is your first investment. It's low risk. It's low down payment. It's 28% return. It's $47,000. Bear with me real quick. I like to nerd out on these things. Let's assume that you did this house hack for 5 years, and then at the end of the 5 years, you sell it, and you're done with real estate. It was the worst 5 years of your life. You go ahead and you put that into a retirement account. You're now 30 years old. You're gonna retire 35 years later. You're gonna put it in the S&P 500 and get a 10% return on it annually. When you go to retire at age 65, according to the calculator you can see right here, your total value will be $1.3 million. So think about this real quick. You take $33,000 at age 25. You house hack for 5 years. You sell the dang thing and you put it into a retirement account. You don't think about it, you don't touch it, you don't worry about it for 35 years, you go on with your life. You go to retire at age 65, you look at your bank account and you have $1.3 million. Now imagine if you did that 2 or 3 times. Imagine if you house hacked for 10 years. Just start to think about how much wealth you can create through real estate. Guys, that's why I love house hacking. That's why I love the power of real estate. And that's why I make videos just like this every single week. So if you got value out of this video, go ahead and like and subscribe, because I will drop a new video every single Friday for you, the investor who wants to grow their wealth through real estate in Bryan-College Station. Now, if you are a subscriber, you know I have bonus content at the end of every single video. And this is a question I get a lot when it comes to house hacking, and that's, Greg, I don't have $33,000. I'm not loaded. How do I house hack? And the truth is, one of the lowest down payment ways to get into a house hack is to buy a single family house that's in good condition and rent out the bedrooms. In fact, I had a client do that literally just last month. He bought a brand new built 4-bedroom house. Let's assume that the house was a $300,000 house. At 3.5% down, his out-of-pocket expense is about $10,500. And the builder covered his closing cost. So his only out-of-pocket expense is that down payment. So literally, he got into it for $10,000. His monthly payment is right around $2,000 to $2,200 a month, and he's gonna rent out the remaining 3 bedrooms for about $500 to $600 per bedroom. At $600 a bedroom, that means he's bringing in $1,800 per month. $1,800, that means that his out-of-pocket expense is only $400 a month. So for as little as $10,000, you can live in a house where your monthly expense gets lowered all the way down to just $400, and you're still getting principal pay down and appreciation. Guys, house hacking is powerful. I hope you at least consider buying or house hacking as your first, second, or maybe even third investment. Personally, I plan on house hacking until I die or until my wife cuts me off. We'll see which comes first. That's all I've got for this video. My only ask is until next week, you take it easy.